Hello, story lovers. Welcome to Folks and Tales, your one-stop story channel for stories that inspire and lessons that last. Once upon a time, in the southern part of Nigeria, there lived a girl named Idara. Idara was an orphan whose parents died when she was 7 years old. Her parents were farmers whose sad events took place on their way to distribute their farm produce, where they had a car accident. Ever since, Idara had been staying with her grandmother, who lived in a mud house. Her grandmother was also struggling to survive, as she had no major source of income. She grew basic cash crops like vegetables, cassava, maize and corn that provided them with food. Sometimes, she would also go to the market to sell some of these crops. Idara used to help her with the selling because she was too old for the hard labor. Life was very hard from the start, but with time, Idara learned the harsh reality of life. Sometimes when the cash crops weren't ready to be harvested, they relied on neighbors for help. Idara was a very smart and intelligent child. She had a strong desire to learn. Unfortunately, her grandmother couldn't afford her fees, so she started going to the community school, which was free. The school was so far away from the house. Each day, she would trek miles just to get to school. Idara's classmates never seized an opportunity to insult and say harsh words to her. They always laughed at her worn-out uniforms and school sandals, and they always teased her for not having enough writing materials in her school bag. Idara felt bad about this, but she didn't give up. She was determined, and she wanted to make her late parents and grandmother proud. Every afternoon when she returned from school, she would go to the market to sell some of the cash crops her grandmother harvested. When she returned from the market in the evening, she would prepare dinner for her and her grandmother to eat, after which she would begin studying. She usually used the old lamp in her grandmother's house for this, because they weren't wealthy enough to get a reading light or pay electricity bills. Life was lonely for her. She missed her parents' company, and she reminisced on how they used to share jokes and laughter every night before going to bed. To cope with the loneliness, she started creating stories of hope. And she usually shared these stories on weekends with other children in the village. These stories brought hope and joy to the other children in the village, and they always looked forward to listening to Idara's stories every weekend. Idara was encouraged by the responses she got from the children, and that fueled her to continue creating more interesting stories. When Idara turned 13, a non-governmental organization visited her community. They came with the motive of empowering the less privileged and providing scholarship to the children in the community. Initially, Idara was unsure of the idea because she didn't want to leave her grandmother all alone. But her grandmother encouraged her to participate in the program, so she took her advice and she applied. After some interviews, Idara was among the 50 children that were offered the scholarship. The scholarship offered them the opportunity into big boarding schools in the urban area. The scholarship covered her tuition fee, textbooks, school uniform, writing materials, and meals. With this, Idara didn't have to worry about anything. All she had to do was focus on her studies. When they published the list, Idara saw her name in the list and she was very happy. Although, she was also sad because she didn't want to leave her grandmother alone in the village. But once again, her grandmother told her to take the opportunity she got. which was rare, and she encouraged her to utilize the opportunity very well so that she can make her parents proud. She also told Idara that she should work hard and always remember where she came from. She advised her that when she gets there, she should focus and not let anything or anyone distract her. She prayed for her and blessed her. The next day, Idara began her journey to her new school. When she got there, she was amazed by the appearance of the school. The school had a large open campus with tall trees. The walls of the building were decorated with fine classic bricks. She could also see the dorms of the students, the game areas, and the library and cafeteria. They were all big, sophisticated buildings. At night, the campus was peaceful and quiet, with light shining from the window, giving the place a calm look. Idara realized immediately that being in that school made her different. She finally was allocated a room, so she began to carry her things to her dorm. When she got there, she met her roommates, Eno and Daniebit. They were dressed in designer outfits with nice hairstyles. They were both discussing about their previous vacations, but as Idara walked in, they paused. Eno asked her if she was among the scholarship students, and she said yes. Eno smirked and welcomed her, although she told Idara that she wouldn't be able to keep up with the stress and lifestyle associated with the school. From that moment, Idara knew she had to be up and doing, and she had to do it all to excel in school, not just to prove a point to her roommates, but also for herself. Classes began, and Idara tried to keep up, despite the fact that they were tough. She excelled in her academics, but she still didn't fit in socially. They made fun of her basic outfit and her epic accent. They laughed at her each time she tried to understand her way around computers in the laboratory. But Idara wasn't moved by all this. She was determined and she didn't give up easily. She found peace in the library, where she would always bury herself in books. She loved the peace and quietness she got in the library, so she visited there often. During one of her numerous visits to the library, she met Abasiofon, who was a very quiet girl that loved to experiment on science. That day at the library, Abasiofon met Idara crying after another episode of bullying from her roommates. She tried to cheer Idara up, telling her that she shouldn't be afraid of those girls. She also added that they were afraid of anyone that worked harder than them. After these words from Abasiofon, Idara felt happy a bit that someone cared about her feelings. As time went on, these two became friends. They did everything together. They ate together, they studied together, and they even played together. They also began to stand up to the bullies. Their friendship was filled with so much love and compassion. Their academic excellence was so clear that the teachers began to notice them. It was almost the time for the school's annual talent show. Idara was skeptical about it because she didn't have any musical instruments or fancy costumes like the other students. But Abasiofon encouraged her to showcase her storytelling talent. She thought of the idea and decided to do it. On the night of the show, Idara performed last, after every other person had performed. When she got to the stage, she was tense and nervous. But when she looked into the crowd, she saw Abasiofon cheering her up. So she began to tell her story in confidence. She talked about hope and resilience. She narrated her story from the village. The story was so captivating. Emotions filled the auditorium. The place was so quiet because everyone wanted to listen to every word of the story. Nobody wanted to miss out on it. Immediately she finished, everyone gave a standing ovation and applauded her. It was indeed a special performance. From that moment, everything had changed for Idara. She couldn't stop hearing the echoes of her audience. When she stepped off the stage, her heart was beating fast, not because of fear, but because she felt seen for the first time. Ever since she got into school, she only received hateful comments from people and it made her feel inferior. But after this day, she began to have a sense of belonging because people no longer referred to her as a scholarship student but as a girl with purpose and a story worth listening to. That night after the show, the principal called Idara to her office. She expressed how happy she was and impressed with Idara's performance. She admired Idara's talent and she expressed that it was extraordinary. She also encouraged Idara to keep the fire burning and never give up. This talent didn't just boost Idara's confidence, it also paved ways for opportunities that could lead her better changes in her life. A few days later, she was summoned again to the principal's office. When she heard the news, she was nervous, but she had to obey. As she walked into the principal's office, she saw the principal seated with another man. He was properly dressed with an English suit and well-laced shoes. The principal introduced him as Mr. Orphan from the Ministry of Education, who also happened to be the patron of the school. Mr. Orphan commended her for her performance at the talent show. He also told her he was impressed and admired her passion for storytelling. He added that he would like to sponsor a storytelling workshop of which she will be the lead presenter. At this moment, Idara's jaw dropped in surprise. She was so grateful for the opportunity and she promised to do her best. This workshop was slated for the next month and this gave Idara enough time to prepare. Orphan, who was also supportive, helped her to organize all the materials needed and rehearse. The workshop was about people sharing their stories with Idara, and Idara worked tirelessly to ensure that it was a success. The day finally came, and the workshop was a huge success. Students who had mocked Idara were now eager to learn from her, and everyone partook in this workshop, including her roommates. They shared their stories with the audience, and she explained how Idara showed her that being real is very powerful. It was from this day that the tension between Idara and her roommates lessened. Although they weren't exactly friends, but they stopped mocking Idara and they would even defend her when others tried to taunt her. As months passed, Idara's life changed for the better. She continued to excel in her academics and her storytelling skill had improved greatly. She was also invited to speak at every school event. It was almost time for the annual inter-school competition, where the school will compete with other schools. The activities involved were debates, quizzes, storytelling and cultural presentation. Idara was selected to represent her school in storytelling, so she had to prepare because she couldn't afford to let her school down. After much preparation, she decided on the story to tell, and she knew that everyone would love it. The night of the competition came, and it was time for Idara to finally spill the tea. She stood on the stage facing hundreds of people who were waiting to be entertained. She told a story that inspired from her grandmother's sacrifice and the strength of the villagers in her community. Her story depicted love, hope, and resilience that left the audience impressed. After all the performances by different people and categories, the results were announced. When the winners were announced, Idara emerged as the champion storyteller for the storytelling category. Her school was so proud of her. After the competition, Mr. Akpan approached her again, but this time he came with a bigger, better opportunity. He offered her a scholarship to attend an international summer program for youths. Idara liked the offer, but she hesitated because she wanted to return to her village to meet her grandmother. But then she remembered the words her grandmother had said to her, that she should make them proud. So she accepted the opportunity and took it as a step towards her dreams. As years passed, Idara was doing well with her storytelling skills, and slowly she was achieving her goals one step at a time. Years later, Idara returned to her village. Everyone was so excited to see her. They were so proud of who she had become. Her grandmother was especially very proud of her, and of course her late parents in their graves were also proud of her achievements. She decided to establish a foundation in the village for the less privileged children to ensure that their talents are properly utilized and seen by the world. Idara decided that after graduation, she would remove her mother from the village to stay with her in the city. The end. From Idara's story, I learned that people's opinion of a person shouldn't define the person. In Idara's case, despite the mockery and bullying from other students, she refused to let other people's opinion define her. She had an unwavering determination to succeed, and she was consistent enough to make that happen. This alone shows that perseverance is an important factor to overcome all the challenges that life throws at a person. I also learned that a person should never forget his or her background. Idara's journey, though filled with growth and new opportunities, was rooted in love she had for her family and community. She used her success to give back to her community and elevate other less privileged children. What about you? What lessons did you learn from this story? Drop it in the comment section below. I would love to read them. Thanks for watching, story lovers. Again, this is Folks and Tales. If you enjoyed this story, please give this video a big thumbs up. Comment and share this video to other story lovers. Also, subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell so that you will be notified whenever we upload a video, because we will be uploading intriguing and captivating stories multiple times per week. You don't want to miss them. Until my next one, peace and love.